Okay, so I think we'll start, and probably more people will just join as we move along. So hi everybody, my name is Eitan. I'm leading the ecosystem development at B.Protocol, and this is our second community call. It's the first time that we have guests from other projects. We will get to that in a few minutes. So the agenda for today is to go briefly over the Liquidity integration, which is already on testnet, and you can approach it via the B.Protocol app. So Yaron will give a short demo and show how it can actually be used. And then we'll move on for Pickle. Lee will be showing us, I hope, a demo of the Pickle integration. And then we have Jeff from EPNS that will show us. We will talk a little bit about this collaboration, about the notification that we're going to do. And then we will have hopefully something between 15 to 20 minutes to share, just to have a discussion about the next liquidity mining, or the community mining as we called it. So Yaron is having some issues with sharing his screen. So maybe until he will fix that, Yaron, if you can let me just know if whenever you're ready, and maybe we can just start with Pickle.
Yeah. So maybe I cannot share my screen, but maybe let me start with some overview on the integration, and it will give some context to the Pickle integration as well. So I can't really share my screen, but the context of the new integration with Liquidity is that Liquidity is kind of another stablecoin like Maker. However, in our V2, we are no longer about integrating, vault management or account management, but it's more about focus only on the liquidation part. So Liquidity already have this mechanism of stability pool, where users can provide LUSD stablecoin for liquidations, which is in that regard quite similar to how DAI is needed for Maker liquidations. So we built on top of that, and we actually provide an interface to deposit this LUSD, where the main advantage that users will get from our integration is that now every time there is a liquidation, we will use our new backstop AMM to automatically rebalance it. So if you use it via Liquidity stability pool directly right now, so you have to, whenever there is a liquidation, you get some ETH, you need to sell it back and to deposit it back to the pool. And with our V2, this will be done automatically. So it both saves you gas of withdrawing, selling, and redepositing the ETH. And we also see it as making Liquidity stronger, because now they have this kind of fully automated backstop as opposed to the semi-manual framework they had before. Currently, the user incentive to participate in Liquidity in general is they provide their own Liquidity token, which is kind of the fee token for Liquidity. And currently the APY on that is in the order of 15%, where if you use it in B.Protocol, so not only you save gas and you minimize maybe your trading risk and help Liquidity to be more stable, but you also get it in a passive manner. I mean, you're able to get, and you will get exactly the same Liquidity as if you will use Liquidity directly. So that's the integration. Now, after you get the liquidity, you can also stake it, and this is where Pickle integration comes to place, where they provide this automatic staking. And yeah, Eitan, I think now it's the time to move to Pickle.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. I will just add that if anyone has any questions, we have a community call chat, which is specific just so we won't use the general or other channels on Discord. So if you have any questions for the speakers or anything that you want to bring up, so just use the community call chat for that. Liquanju, Pickle. Can you take it from here and just show us what users can do with Pickle on the liquidity and P-liquidity jar? I can't hear you. Lee, can you use maybe the chat or can anyone else hear Lee? Is it my side or?
Yeah, no, I also don't hear Lee.
Let me just check for a second. So maybe by the time Liquanju from Pickle will solve the connectivity issues, maybe we'll just jump to Jeff. Jeff. Same issue. Let me see if maybe it's something in the settings. No, everyone's supposed to be able to connect. Can anyone else who is not admin or moderator can try and see if his voice is working? Just say hello or something. I changed something in the record, so maybe in the settings. So maybe now it should be. Yeah, Leah, I can hear you now. Good.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, sorry, it was some sort of setting.
Yeah, something on my side on the setting of the channel. Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, glad to be here and glad that you can finally hear me. And let's get started with a little demo. So you can see my screen now. Well, I'm the product lead at Pickle Finance. And so I'm going to kind of briefly introduce what the protocol is about. So the protocol is about yield enhancement or yield maximizing, yield rebalancer. People have different names for these kind of protocols. It's sort of like Yearn, in which you can just set and forget your deposit. In this case, we're going to demo with LQTY, right? So from the Pickle Finance website, we can just go to the Pickle app, and this is where most people land directly once they got some familiarity with Pickle. You might see some things if you're interested in the rewards price. You may have a balance of rewards, and just some general stats about the protocol. But everything kind of important happens here in jars, right? So, well, there's a lot of jars, and very soon there's going to be live as well as the B.Protocol integration, which I'm going to also show you from our test environment. But for now, I'm just going to search the LQTY jar, and so here it is. If I didn't have any LQTY, my balance here would show as 0, and this is essentially the current APY, as Yaron sort of mentioned before, hovering around 16%. Essentially, what this does is takes the ETH and LUSD that you would receive by staking LQTY and turns it into more LQTY, which, if you're familiar with the tokenomics of Liquidity, it's a fixed supply token, so that might be advantageous at some point. So if you do have LQTY, like I do at the moment, have 63 units of LQTY, then I just decide to deposit them here, and let's give it a bit more gas. And once the transaction processes, the balance moves to deposited, right? And it has a certain value based on the price in, for example, CoinGecko is what we're fetching here. And now my LQTY has become PLQTY, right? I can withdraw it here from the jar. So these are the two different numbers that it's showing. I have 62.845 two P tokens or PLQTY tokens. And there's an underlying amount of LQTY that I deposited, that it's basically what was here. So these are minted 1-to-1 at the beginning, but as the jar keeps harvesting, the ratio changes, and so it will not be 1-to-1 since we've released this one a while back. So what to do here? Well, at the moment, I'm already receiving this 16.23 APY. As more and more harvests happen, I can go to the info tab and check profit, and I will have made certain profit here on earnings on LQTY. So this is from my previous holdings in the jar, right? But this is just the jar profits. We are also providing pickles as part of our incentives for users to use the Pickle protocol. So you would have to manually stake your P token, which you have received on your wallet by depositing on the jar on the Pickle farms. So I would go to the farms tab, and then again, in this particular case, I'm already in the QTY jar, so I have already staked a certain amount here, but this is the balance I just did for the demo, and the current APY range is here. And so there is a range for the pickle component, and that's based on, if you're familiar with curves, VE-CRV boosts. Well, we have dill, which is essentially VE pickle, and you would have to log some pickle to be able to get up to 2.5 times more pickle rewards. So at the moment, I'm receiving the max based on the amount of dill I have locked and the amount of other lockers and the current liquidity in the pool. So I'm just going to go ahead and stake this other 63. So I have right now earned 7.3 pickles, and as soon as I want to, I can just harvest them by just clicking on this harvest button. And then again, I have to pay gas. In this particular case, it's a little expensive, but it's all right for this demo. And so basically the 63 tokens I had, are now part of the staked balance, and the value staked has gone up. And now all of these staked PLQTY tokens are all receiving this APY, which already includes what they receive in the jar, but an additional 30% of pickle on top. So, the harvest has gone through, and essentially now I have 6 or something pickles in my account. And well, that's for the, here it is, 7.3 pickles in my account. I can go and lock them for dill if I want to receive some of the, say, pickle protocol profits, which the historical chart is here for your illustration. This is on the dill tab. So what is going to happen once we release the B.Protocol jar is that you will be able to go to the jars page and see essentially another entry point for entering the BAMM product that B.Protocol is releasing with the pickle integration. So as Yaron mentioned, you can deposit LUSD here and receive the current stability pool fees plus a certain liquidation APY from grabbing that ETH that comes regularly and putting it back into LUSD. So what will the pickle part do is that it will give you more LUSD, but you'll also be able to get PLQTY. So once you get some PLQTY, you know that you can just take it to the farm and deposit it for additional pickles. So I believe this contract, if I deposit, I have certain amount of LUSD. This is the first time I interact through this front end, and so I would have to approve it. And after the approval, the deposit transaction should kick in automatically. So here's a little explanation of the jar. proceed. Essentially, it's what Yaron mentioned about you will, as people are liquidated in liquidity because their minimum collateral ratio doesn't meet the requirements, since their LUSD in the stability pool is used to obtain some ETH that is given pro rata to all of these depositors. So B.Protocol is handling the rebalancing of this ETH into more LUSD. So here it is, my $17 with 68 cents have been deposited, and I have received a number of PBAM tokens. So at the moment, I only have LUSD, but as this stays in the stability pool, I will start also receiving LQTY, which B.Protocol automatically deposits as PLQTY, so that the users can receive only one token, yield-bearing LQTY, and they don't have to worry about getting more LUSD and more ETH dust that they may have to sell. So that's pretty neat. Any questions? All right, then
Can you hear me?
Maybe if there's someone, if anyone wants to ask a question, just open your mic, and you can just, instead of using it on the chat, so we can just have it on over a discussion.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, does this replace the previous jar that you mentioned, the liquidity jar, or is it a second jar?
It still exists. They both exist, so they're slightly separate, right? Here you deposit LUSD, and you receive more LUSD as you stay longer in the jar, but you also receive some PLQTY. You can see I already got some PLQTY dust. So when you withdraw, you will receive this PLQTY, then you can just deposit it on the farm, right? Or if you have LQTY by yourself, then you deposit it on the jar and then the farm, right?
So actually, if you have PLQTY, you don't need to deposit it. You can stake it if you want, right? But you don't need to deposit it in the pickle jar because basically it's already there.
Correct. So if you have PLQTY, that's already in the jar. But I was referring to if you have, say, additional LQTY on your own, like you purchased it on the market or something, then you could do that.
So basically, the two jars are complementary.
This is an entry point to the B.Protocol product, right? So we have just integrated it with our front end, and you can access it on B.Protocol, or here it's the same.
No, okay. So actually, to be precise, if you enter it from the pickle interface, then your LQTY will be automatically will be moved to pickle liquidity. If you use it via a different interface, so now it will be different. I mean, and then there will not be, it will be without the pickle integration. So if you want to have the pickle staking, you have to do it from pickle interface. Otherwise, you have to do it from our or other interface. But also in terms of complementary, it's more like, this jar actually integrates with the original pickle jar.
Yeah.
Right. So every liquidity which is accumulated here just go to the pickle jar. So yeah, I mean they are separate, but there is a interaction between the two.
Yeah, just to bring it back to what you do in liquidity. So if you stake LUSD, you get liquidity, and if you stake liquidity, you get LUSD. So those are two separate things, and here there are two separate jars. The last one you showed, the B.Protocol, is the one where you stake LUSD, and you get P liquidity as a result. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you again, you have the option to choose, but if you use the pickle jar, then you deposit LUSD, you get liquidity in return. You also get the potential LUSD profits from the liquidations. But you get liquidity, and the liquidity in the pickle jar is automatically staked into P liquidity. So you end up with P liquidity, which actually in turns give you some US dollar, but okay, then liquidity, as far as I know, use this LUSD to buy more LQTY.
I think we'll take it. Thanks, Lee, for this demo. If there are any other questions, Lee's on the Discord, so you can just add whatever questions on either on the support or on the general chat later on. Due to time restrictions, we'll move on to Jeff from EPNS. But again, thank you, Lee, for this Pickle demonstration. Jeff, are you with us? Jeff, I can't hear you. Well, maybe we can take this few minutes while Jeff is checking his audio. If there's the next topic, we'll be discussing the liquidity mining or the community mining as we tagged it on over the forum. So if there are any questions you already have towards that discussion, you can just list it on the community call chat, and we'll try to address that. I think I changed that setting already. This is how Lee could have used that, but I'll check it again.
Hey, can you hear me now? I think you can.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Mediac was right. It was set up to push to talk.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So if you can give us, a short intro on EPNS and specifically, on the collaboration that.
Perfectly. I prepared a super quick presentation, just because part of the things that I wanted to do. Can you see my screen, by the way? You should be seeing like a PowerPoint thing.
Yeah, now I can see that.
Okay, perfect. So basically, part of what we wanted to do is just explain what EPNS is, and go quickly into what are we going to be doing with this collaboration, right? And I prepared this quick presentation just because some people might not know exactly what EPNS is, so we're just going to cover it really, really quick. So basically, the full name is Ethereum Push Notification Service, but we call it EPNS for short. And what we are bringing to the table is right now we realized there was a missing piece in the Web3, and what we found is that there is no way to notify users in the Web3, right? So either you have to keep an eye on socials, social channels like Telegram or Twitter or whatnot, and what it causes is what we call here a critical info drop, because especially in the DeFi space, you always want to be aware of everything happening with your operations, right? So that's what we are bringing to the table. How we are doing this is creating a notification protocol that is platform agnostic, and this part is really cool. It's about our notifications being incentivized, meaning that whenever a person will receive a notification directly to their wallet, that's going to actually be an incentivized notification, right? So here is where I wanted to focus just for a minute. These are just examples, and even this sheet is a little bit outdated, but it serves the purpose of showing what notifications are and why sometimes we don't even think that we are so used to them in the Web2 world, and now we don't have them. We just don't have them, but it's extremely important. So let's focus on this part, on the DeFi space. Right now, for example, if you have a loan that is coming due, or you have a low health factor on one of your loans, then you want to know, so that you don't risk your assets. You want to go and put more collateral on it, so that you don't that your loan still stays healthy, right? But there are many other opportunities in DeFi that we have been exploring and that our teams have been talking about. But I guess what I wanted to put on everyone's mind right now is the fact that notifications right now, they don't exist as such, that they go directly to your wallets. And with EPNS, we created an engine, right? EPNS must be considered a middleware layer for notifications. And what we created is, with this layer, is the opportunity to send notifications based on thresholds, based on specific actions that might happen regarding your DeFi operations. And they can even be scheduled, right? So if you have something that you would like to be informed about gas prices every 6 hours, or something like that, that's also doable through EPNS. Now, what do we have right now in our product ecosystem is, as you can see here, the push service, mobile app, EPNS app, and the browser extension alpha. All this is already live and working, right? I'm going to focus on these three because they are the ones that are more like user-oriented, right? Those are the ones that the user will use. The push service is one of our most important parts, of course, but is very back-end. Now, what we offer as well with EPNS is a mobile app where you can get push notifications directly to your phone, right, to your wallet. We have an EPNS app that I will show you in a minute. And now, very recently, we released our EPNS browser extension. It's still an alpha version. I will show it to you in a minute. And just to explain quickly how EPNS works, so our game theory is interesting, but in the case of B.Protocol, if B.Protocol wants to set themselves as a service, activate themselves as a service in EPNS, then when it comes to creating a channel, B.Protocol will put some funds on stake. And those funds are going to be put against Aave to generate interest. Aave for now. There might be other ones that comes in the future, but for now we're working with Aave. And that interest is the one that is going to be used to send incentivized notifications to the subscribers of the channel. Right? We do have a ton of homework to do through the year. Part of the things, as you can see here, I'm not going to go through everything, but governance is something that we are putting a lot of efforts right now. We are starting our slow decentralization governance process, right? L2 is everyone's homework nowadays, and there are many other things, cross-chain being one of them, right? We are producing SDKs for the development community because we know this is an infrastructure project, and part of our focus is also providing those tools to the developers so that they can build solutions themselves. Now let me show you quickly before we go into exploring what we are building with B.Protocol. This is I just wanted to show you how the mobile app looks, right? This is how you will get notifications. And part of the things is notifications, they come with some really important things. It's not only like getting text that will tell you a message. It's more than that. It goes beyond, because with if you want one notification to take you somewhere, then you can make use of the call to action link. And let me search for one that has a call to action link. Okay, doesn't matter. I will not continue browsing too much. Okay, here's one, right? This is one of our developers. If I click it, it will take me to this developer's Twitter, right? That's the call to action link. So you can imagine in the case of B.Protocol, for example, if have let's say a loan that is approaching liquidation, then the call to action link in that case will actually take you to where you need to go to put your to add more funds, right? So what we want to accomplish with this call to action feature is promote or create more engagement the user with the platform, right? So that they can take actions immediately. And this example that I'm telling you about is something that we have been discussing, our teams have been discussing, that is one of our most important use cases that we will be tackling first, and that is alerting users when one of your loans might be coming close to liquidation. So we are going to send a notification, that notification with a call to action link, that like the one that I just showed you, and that will take you to wherever you need to go to take action. We are exploring other things right now that are looking to create more interaction, like for example, governance proposals. One of the things that we're exploring is that very soon we expect that you can actually sign or emit your vote from the notification itself. So if you want to take a look at a proposal, then you can click yes or no and things like that, right? Other than that, there's too many options for setting up the channel settings. And one of the things that we offer is, let's say you want to be alerted or be notified once your loan reaches a certain threshold, then you can do that, right? That's part of the things that we're looking to build with this B.Protocol EPNS integration. I haven't been reading the questions, sorry.
Thanks, Jeff. I think if there are any questions, people can just open their mics and ask whatever there is.
And just quickly, this is how the browser extension looks, right? I just sent a notification a minute ago. This is how it looks, right? So you might be browsing here, whatever your positions or any other website, right, in general, and you will always have the browser extension, just like you have your MetaMask or any other extension where you will be receiving your notifications. This is in alpha still, but we are adding other features like channel discovery and other things.
Super cool. Jeff, thanks for this explanation and also this kind of short demo. If there are any questions to Jeff, just open your mic and just ask.
Yeah, I think I get the concept of what it does, but I'm not sure I understood the connection or how it works together with B.Protocol. Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, so it's basically, as Jeff suggested, we're still working on the exact scenarios, for notification, but basically what we want to have is, some kind of a notification that you get whenever if your vote on B.Protocol Maker is, getting closer to liquidation, you will get a notification on that. So pretty straightforward, just to notify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that makes it a preferred place to go because it has.
There are other notifications that are also important. That it depends on what's important for the user, right? Like for example, if you want to know about collateralization ratios, or if you want to get a notice of liquidation events and auctions, right? Even something that is more common, like gas price alerts and stuff like that. That's all part of the notifications that you can get through EPNS.
And what is the how do you charge users, or who pays for this service?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So right now we're in Ropsten, but that doesn't mean that we cannot send notifications to mainnet, right? We are doing that right now. And about the transaction fees, right now we're exploring L2 for transactions, right? We're also opening the network to accepting JSON payloads as long as they are working with one of the delegated wallets, right? Yeah, for now we are still exploring L2 transactions. We are going to work in a SaaS fashion, software as a service fashion, right, where there will be a fee, but we're not looking at fees for about a year or more, right? And one other thing that is related is that governance will take care of adjusting these fees. That's part of our slow governance process.
Thanks.
Okay, so thanks, Jeff. Again, if there are any more questions, Jeff will probably stay on the Discord, not now specifically, but you can just address whatever questions, and we can take it further. Maybe we can open also a thread on that on the forum, so we can have a more of a proper discussion on whatever notifications the community wants to get using EPNS. So Jeff, thank you. For the last part, we wanted to cover, well, just to say shortly that we've been, Yaron went to ECC in Paris last week, and had a few meetings with projects that we're already collaborating with, as well as with other projects, and basically it was kind of a busy week, so we haven't shared a lot of info on that, but it was there. But what we wanted to focus on was the next liquidity mining, as the current liquidity mining was just ended 2 days ago, and rewards have been distributed, and it's time to kind of get the next phase running. Maybe I'll try and share my screen so we can just go together, and just cover there's like 5 different actions in the next phase, at least in the proposal. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just sharing a screen from the forum. Anyone can get into the forum and just read it. But basically, it has 5 different parts in it, trying basically to incentivize and grow. The main focus was how we can grow the user base and the governance participation in B.Protocol. So both users and token holders to be kind of getting into B.Protocol. So briefly, and maybe just to say very shortly, the liquidity mining that just ended, we distributed 250,000 B.Pro over a time of 3 months, and there was also discussions about that both on Discord and in the forum. We didn't get. In the beginning, it was kind of hot, and then we actually, I have to admit it, we didn't get the what we were expecting. This boost of new users joining in, and we were trying to figure out how we can create a new incentive model, and I think this is a good proposal that we should discuss. So the first part in that is basically, to kind of give an incentive, which is basically kind of a gas reimbursement, for new users to open their account with B.Protocol. So there is kind of those a few discussion about Sybil attacks and things like that. So there is kind of a minimum. You have to be, $10,000 worth of assets in deposits. You have to keep it for at least 30 days, and then you would get new users will get 50 B.Pro, kind of as a a reward for joining in, and it's capped for 300 new users or unique addresses. So this is the first step. The second step is a KPI-based liquidity mining, as we wanted to kind of align, how we can align the, people getting in and, getting the TVL. Though I've seen there were a few questions, if TVL is the right, is the right metric for us to actually track. And I think at this stage, and definitely, now the TVL and the project kind of went down, we've been up to 270 million, currently around 26 million. So we do need to get that TVL a little bit higher, to get more notice, more buzz around the project. And so we kind of came up with this. I think this is a good idea to have a kind of a baseline of 30K B-Pro, and then the extra 60K will be distributed only if a TVL of 150 million will be reached. I reached out to UMA project with which has a KPI option program. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with that. Maybe we'll try to get some kind of a call with them in the next in the next call, maybe even before that. And basically, they have a straightforward product where you actually get kind of an option token, that get its full price only if the KPI is reached. So we checked it with them. We even kind of discussed that already about 2 or 3 weeks ago with them, and we already listed B-Pro as a collateral in UMA. So we are kind of ready to go with them if the community, decides it's a go. So basically, there is nothing that keeps us from integrating UMA with B.Protocol on this KPI option program. The next one was about LPs, and we did, in the middle of the previous program, we kind of changed things, and the governance has voted to reward LPs, and we've seen it didn't really, of course, LPs on Sushi and Uni got rewarded, but basically what we want to have, and there were quite a lot of discussions around that, is that basically we want to have kind of a gateway for, not for whales and not for big players, but for those small and medium kind of users who wants to join into the protocol and get, into the governance and hold B-Pro. We need to give them some, currently the liquidity is quite low, and want to give somehow, an option for anyone to get in. And this, using Uniswap V3 as an option for that, so we can just, use a range of between $2 to $5, and, just having it concentrated in between these prices, we can actually have, we gave this 100K B-Pro tokens from the DAO, from the DAO reserve, where users can actually buy in and just join into the protocol. Yaron, do you want to add anything about this specific thing or others before I jump into the growth squad?
Yes, so maybe some note about the TVL as a KPI. So first of all, one thing to know that this is kind of, like the standard, and there's nothing much better than that, like to measure usage because of potential Sybil attacks. Also, especially for our V2 and, how we will measure in the future in our ability to protect platforms. Especially moving forward, this V2 will be according to the TVL that user provide, because eventually this will be used as a buffer towards liquidations. So yeah. So this just to say that TVL is obviously not an ideal metric, but I think it's quite reasonable. like to put it as a KPI at this stage.
Okay. Any other questions before I move on? Just open your mic and just ask whatever you have. Okay, so I'll move to the fourth part, which had its own proposal. It's the Growth Squad fund. Basically, the fund is part of the more the bigger picture of the proposal, which is around the Growth Squad. And I admit that was, it's part of my initial initiatives. Is we try to decentralize as much as we can, and get more and more community members to take part, active part in the protocol. Besides, the team, and I think moving gradually into working in squads, teams, whatever names we'll find them, down the road, is the right path to go. And one of the first things I think is using the Growth Squad or a marketing squad, which is based from built from members from the community. So there is a whole proposal about what the Growth Squad supposed to do, with two major KPIs. One is growing the user base, and the other one is to grow the governance participation. And part of that was also to utilize some of the funds that the DAO has in the reserve in order to actually invest in growing the protocol. So basically, there's the fourth step is funding a 25,000 B.Pro into a specific account that will be utilized by the Growth Squad. I want to emphasize, because there were a few questions about that, these funds are not going as rewards to the members of the squad, at least not in this phase, which is kind of a pilot. So we capped that in up to 20%, meaning 5,000 B.Pro that can go eventually if those KPIs are reached. So 5,000 B.Pro can go to the members of the squad. It's kind of more of as I see it, at least, kind of a symbolic reward, for 3 months of work, shared between at least currently 3 members. And it's they've kind of presented themselves on the forum. Anyone can ask questions. They are also here, at least 2 of them here. I think Atom is left, but they are here on the Discord. They are available on the forum. If you have any questions, you can just reach out and ask. Of course, the team and specifically myself, will be definitely assisting in the initial phase, with the work of the squad. But I think this is what we need to aim, is getting more and more community members to join in and take responsibilities over the protocol, just like we did with the mobile development and other stuff. And so this is regarding the Growth Squad. And the last part, the fifth part, is basically about the Immunify bug bounty that was launched about 2 weeks ago. Basically, the bounties are capped in 50K B.Pro for critical vulnerabilities. So we request here the DAO to kind of transfer 50K B.Pros to be used only, if such a payout is needed, if a bounty is found, and everything is getting there. So to get that. So yeah, that's basically the 5 different parts that we think. And just to say maybe something about, the bug bounty, we feel, and I think this is across DeFi, new users are looking at security. They want to see that not only that, the protocol was audited. I think, bug bounties became kind of a standard. And I think this is part of, making new users to feel comfortable enough to join in. This is a major step. And this is why I think it's also part of this general growth measurements that we're trying to bring in. So yeah. Any questions? If anyone is trying to speak and I know for some reason can't be heard, you can just write it down in the chat. Wait a second. So I read that and I'm not sure I understood the difference between giving what we had before as rewarding LPs, and the question here I think is what the protocol, the DAO is getting from rewarding. I know there's a lot of discussions about staking. Some of them came to us, some of them I know was been so, and this is definitely something we can discuss, but I'm not sure I understand what's the difference between the liquidity mining that we had for LPs on Uniswap and these suggestions. It's on the chat if anyone wants to have a look.
Maybe to add to that, so yeah, I think in general, like a good staking scheme could make sense, but it's mostly like a matter on, like really crafting or tailoring such staking program. And I think also part of, there is now a bit of uncertainty about the V2 and, like the actual needs for it. So we go with the first version next week. But the version after that will have quite different needs, and their staking might be more natural. So in that regard, we like kind of prefer to keep it like kind of undecided for the next couple of months, and like to allow more flexibility later if it is needed, and if we find like a reasonable staking scheme.
So there is a question about integration with Liquidity. So I'm happy to say that we just launched the docs for B.Protocol. So if you go, first of all, it's on the website now, and if you go to docs.bprotocol.org, you will find the docs. Everything is over there. Liquidity integration is still not there, as it hasn't been launched yet. Maybe the smart contracts are there. Yaron, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the smart contracts are. There's a link.
There. But by the way, again, not sure how technical you are, but you can also, it's also now kind of live on testnet on the app we have. And, if you need some Kovan LUSD, reach out on the Discord. But yeah, so that's the sources we currently have. Actually, so it was also audited, and I think the audit report includes the spec, but if not, I can also include the spec for the integration, maybe.
And we will share probably a post in the coming days before we launch with a more detailed, kind of explanation on how the integration and what it actually does. Yeah, I think that's it for now, unless there are last questions or anything that anyone wants to bring up. It's the first time we actually had visitors on this call, and I think it's kind of nice to get some something from the outside, from integrations and other projects, and we'll try to bring it for next times as well. Okay, so we'll wrap it up just now, and thanks again for everyone for joining in. Any questions, just put it on Discord or on the forum on the right topic. And yeah, that's.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks Yaron, Eitan, everybody. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Bye.